Set us free. Set us free. Set us free. Set us free. In this dark hour need. Light our way back home, coming in from the cold, and we'll be all set free. Set us free. Set us free. Set us free. Set us free. In this dark hour need. Light our way back home, coming in from the cold, and we'll be all set free.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are. I'm happy to see you this morning. I'm happy to see you right now. So, you know I'm a computer guy, or an information technologist, or a computer technologist, or whatever you want to call it. Hold on, let me make sure I'm working right. Oh yeah, I'm working. Anyway, so it's springtime, and it's time to spring clean. I've been honeydewing at the house. We did some spring cleaning inside the house. And it's time to do that to your computer too. So let me just give you some ideas on things that you can do that aren't so dangerous, scary that you can do. And then we'll talk about some things that maybe you want to pass off to a pro to do. So how about it? Are you ready to get started? Let's go. One thing you can do for sure is get into your browser and then go to the settings, and then go clear your browser cache or downloaded files, depending on your browser. Let me look at it on Chrome and tell you exactly what Chrome says. So you go to the three dots at the top right, then you go to settings, and then you go to privacy and security, and then you tell it to click on the clear browsing data, switch it to all time, and then make sure you just get the cached images and files. Now, if you don't do this very often, that could be a huge amount of space. Now, what that does for you, of course, is it clears up disk space. But a lot of times, depending on the browser, and depending on the technology, and certainly depending on your operating system, that will speed things up because your browser, or especially when we talk about Windows, isn't loading all this junk in temp, or having to search through it every time it looks for stuff. So we're getting rid of the cache. And that also means whenever you open a website, you'll get the latest version of that website. All the images and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you don't get that. And you don't know it unless you hit the F5 key while you're browsing that site. So that will clean up a whole bunch of space on your computer. So why does your computer store that? Well, let's talk about that. When you go to a website, everything that you see on that website, every sound that you hear, every video that you hear, watch, see, hear, whatever, every game that you play, every picture you see, all of that stuff actually gets downloaded to your computer and it's stored in the cache. That way, when you go back to that site, your computer doesn't have to download it again. Or, if in the case of a video, it actually comes down to your computer so that you can actually watch it. You may have noticed before, when you go to a streaming website, that you see that little buffering thing sometimes, if your internet's not that fast. Well, that's actually downloading stuff for you to watch. And you're just doing it real time because you're buffering. Well, you're not quite real time, but close enough. Well, on other videos, especially ads and things like that, they actually get downloaded to your computer first. So, clearing the cache removes all that junk that you probably won't ever see again on your computer. And it doesn't hurt anything. It just means that if you are going back to a site where you've downloaded something before, it may download it again. No big deal. That's a huge amount of space that you're actually cleaning up, spring cleaning off your computer. All right, other things that you can do on your computer. In Windows, there are a whole bunch of temporary files that happen just because it happens. Now, I'm going to talk about somebody right now, and he doesn't watch my videos very often, but if he does, he'll know that I'm talking about him. There is a guy I know that does not restart his computer, and he does not close Chrome. Now, I don't know about you, of all the browsers, Chrome is my favorite, although lately it has become a memory hog, and you need to restart Chrome every now and then. So, close Chrome, leave it off. In fact, what I would do, especially what I try to tell him, but he don't listen, close everything, shut down the computer, walk away, get a glass of water, drink it, then come back, turn it on, start all over. Life will be better. But let's talk about Windows specifically. That's why I got started on all that. Windows in the past, and they say not so much with Windows 10, but I don't believe it. Every time you open a program, that program consumes memory. And then when you do stuff, you open a Word document. So first you open Word, and then you open a document. That document consumes memory. When you close it all up, it's supposed to release all the memory that it consumed, but usually it doesn't. That's why we restart our computer every now and then. While we're talking about that, the same thing that your browser does as far as temporary stuff in the cache, those same things happen in Windows. So you have a whole bunch of temporary files in Windows that you should clear out occasionally. Now this can get kind of tricky because if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you might mess it up. But there are several programs out there that will allow you to clear the Windows temporary files that will make your computer run immensely faster. I'll give you an example. One of the services I do for my clients is to go in and do a spring cleaning on their computers. And it usually takes an hour or two, depending on how long it's been since we've done it in the past, and how many updates they need and things like that. But by the time that I'm done and I give the computer back to them or release control back to them, whatever, they are so amazed at how much faster the computer is because we've taken care of all the junk. So that's one of the things that you can do, one of the effects that you can realize from spring cleaning the computer is how much faster the thing is going to run for you. And you wonder why you didn't do it a long time ago. There you go. Now, there's other things that you can do during your spring cleaning. Of course, you want to make sure you have all the latest updates. I talked about that last week. But you also want to make sure that you've got... Oh, let me get back out of this. I'm sorry. I was doing something on this computer and need to see what's going on. There we go. So, you are clearing... You're doing all your updates. You're making sure that you have all the security updates in place. You're getting the latest updates for all of your software. Also, so we're talking about, that was cleanup. Now we're talking about updating. You also want to go ahead and make sure that you run all the latest antivirus, anti-malware, anti-spyware, all those utilities, and do a cleanup. Consider that part of your spring cleaning. And then last but not least, you just want to take a look at all of your junk. Because I'll be honest with you, I've got a lot of stuff in my downloads folder. Well, not on this computer, but on my Windows computer back there, I've got a lot of stuff in my downloads folder that I need to go through because chances are I've downloaded... oh, let's look at something that I would have downloaded. Different versions of software. For example, there's a boot utility that I use to put operating systems on a flash drive. And I have to update it every now and then. Well, I bet you... Well, I don't now because I cleaned it. But I've probably got 4 or 5 different versions of a lot of things on there. I don't need all those. You can get rid of them. So go through your downloads folder and look at stuff and realize that you don't need it. Get rid of it. Your steam cleaning. You could steam clean. Your spring cleaning. That's a good thing. Now, while we're talking about spring cleaning, a good thing to do if you have clean air is to take a picture of the back of your computer where all the cords plug in so that you know what goes where. Take your shut down your computer, unplug it, take it outside, take the side cover off, and blow it out. Now, you don't want to do it with a yard blower because that's probably a little bit too much pressure to be putting in there, and you might dislodge stuff, especially on an older computer. But if you're using compressed air from a can, there you go. Make sure you do it outside because if you haven't done it in a while, there is going to be a lot of stuff in there. Believe it or not, I have worked on computers that there was so much stuff in there that you could take it out with your hand. You didn't have to blow it out. And it's just, they were in a dusty environment and animal dander and things like that all just built up. So I put on some rubber gloves and took it all out. And the computer was so much happier with it because it was cooler. A dust-free computer is a much cooler computer. Okay, so that's all the spring cleaning tips that I'm going to tell you about. There are other things you can do. Clean the registry. That's kind of scary for a lot of people. It's kind of scary for me, and I've been doing it for years. So make sure that you know what you're doing. if you don't know what you're doing, talk to somebody like me. You can hire us. We'd be happy to do it for you. A lot of times we can do it remotely. So if you have a reasonably fast internet connection, we can get in, take care of all of these things that I just talked about, and get back out, and you're done. And all you had to do was let us in and go about your business, and we'll call you back and say, it's finished. Anyway, there you go. So listen, if you have any questions about any of that stuff, leave a comment, send me a message. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. If it's more than you can do on your own, let me know that too. I'd be happy to help you with it. And we will get you spring cleaned for the year. All right. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We're going to listen to some Look At You Now. But before we do, tomorrow is Wealth Wednesday. So be a blessing to someone. All right. Have a fantastic day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Didn't show up, but you showed them all anyhow. You wouldn't slow down, now you're too slow to push a fly.